So been doing a little cleaning. We've all been stuck at home, and so all of us have probably been doing a little cleaning and come across the Ironman, my first one, and my first NHRA trophy. And so I was just kind of thinking, man, I probably should just tell a few stories about the two of them. How I got them, how long apart it was before I got them. So my first IHRA win was in Grand Bend, Ontario, Canada, June 4th of 2000. So I got my Top Fuel license in May of 98. Horrible with dates and remembering things, but to be specific, I got it May 10th, 1998. I can remember that for a couple reasons. One, it's my sister Tracy's birthday, May 10th. And the other is obviously because it was such a big day to get my Top Fuel license. So I ran a handful of races in 98 and 99, and Peter Lehman bought all the equipment to go Top Fuel racing full-time from Tommy Johnson Jr. It was all the old Mopar stuff. And so Peter made the decision that we should run the IHRA series. There was a less number of races, and we could put ourselves in position to chase the $200,000 championship that they had just posted that year. Another thing that was going on was the rules had been changed. You could no longer run 100% nitro. You could only run 90% nitro. And I had got to work with Mike Klober, my current crew chief and my crew chief through all my IHRA wins. And we knew that Mike did not have a tune-up from someone else. He built his own tune-up. And with the rule change, with the nitro percentage, we knew Mike was the guy. And we had worked with him when I drove the Nitro Fish car that was owned by Nick Bonifant Sr. Nick Bonifant Sr., a lot of you that follow drag racing will know the name Bonifant because that's who produced the clutch disc that essentially everybody runs. So it was me and a bunch of my buddies, and we were off and running. You know, our first IHRA race was in Darlington, and I mean, it didn't go so well. We ended up only getting 2 qualifying sessions. It rained, and we were a D&Q. Little side note to that story is, probably wasn't right, but IHRA allowed us to make a run. You know, Mike and Peter went and talked to Bill Bader, the president of IHRA at the time, and they said, don't make a big deal of it, but just fall in line at the back of first round of Top Fuel, and you can go out there and make a run. And we did, and that run happened to be low ET and top speed of the meet, even though we were a D&Q. And that was kind of the beginnings of my problems with Doug Herbert that I had for a few years there. And that's a story for another time. Y'all can go check that out. The birth of Dougzilla, also right here on YouTube, that Ray Eddings put together several years ago. But anyway, so that was our first race, was Darlington. Our next race was Rockingham. Man, Rockingham ended up being a huge part of my career, and I don't know how many finals I made there, but my very first Rockingham race in Top Fuel, we went to the final round, which was awesome. It was a huge struggle, just like I say, me and my buddies working on the car, and we didn't really know what we were doing, but we had Mike, and Mike had us a car that ran good, and we didn't have very many parts and pieces, and we ended up going into the final round against Bruce Litton and the Lucas Oil car. And we put a motor in that didn't have the right push rods, on and on and on. Basically, the car didn't want to run. It bent push rods. Everything was wrong. It was messed up. Mike liked to never got the car started on the starting line, but he did. And he told me, he said, do not step on the pedal. I'm on the radio. We drove by radios. We still do. Don't step on the pedal. And he told me later, I'm like, why did you not want me to step on the pedal? He said, because I'm standing near this thing. It was definitely, it had, you know, it was hurt just from the burnout. And so our very second race, which was Rockingham, we made it to the final round. So that brings us to Grand Bend, Ontario, Canada, June 4th of 2000. And for me, I mean, I only had a handful of races. It was just unbelievable to be part of it. And during qualifying at that race, a guy named Doug Foxworthy drove a Top Fuel car owned by Bobby Rex, had a horrendous crash. I mean, it was nasty, really, really nasty and ugly. And I was actually coming back up the return road, and yeah, it was bad. He come by us, the car was in multiple pieces. It was very scary. It was bad, like it was really, really bad. And you know, so you know, it's part of it. Luckily, you know, he ended up being okay, but man, it was definitely something scary to see coming back up the return road and have a Top Fuel car come sliding by you, just parts breaking, pieces going everywhere. It was an ugly, ugly deal. Anyway, we ended up, you know, getting ready for Sunday morning, race day, and it was time to go racing, and I had to race, you know, Jim Bailey first round, and we won that round. Shirley raced Bruce Litton. Second round, I raced Paul Romine in the CarQuest car, and Shirley raced Jim Head, and then it was us and Shirley in the final. And the reason I'm telling you all this is because I wanted people that are watching this to kind of get the idea that IHRA wasn't no joke in 2000. You know, yes, NHRA definitely was and still is the big dog on the circuit. No two ways about it. But just think about those names I just told you about. Jim Bailey, Snap-on Tools, Paul Romine, the CarQuest car, Bruce Litton in the Lucas Oil car, and everybody knows Jim Head. So, I mean, there was some serious hitters there. Me, I'm just excited. You know, here I am, you know, what is it, our third race into a full-time IHRA deal for me and Mike Klober and Peter Lehman and everybody that was involved in our entire team. And I told you earlier, you know, we used radios a lot. I've got earplugs in, and Mike would yell at me if I needed to shut the car off. He would, you know, whatever. I used the radio a lot. So here we are, we're racing Shirley Muldowney, you know. She's awesome. She's unbelievable. So we're up there. Mike starts the car, do the burnout. Shirley does her burnout. I'm backing up, and I see that Shirley's still sitting out there. And internally, I don't really know what to think. All I know is I'm in a final round in a Top Fuel car in my third Top Fuel race, you know, chasing points and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, wow, she's sitting out there, and sitting out there for a while, I might add. And her guys are running out there, and it's taking a long time. And so I start getting on the radio. I'm doing this because the button's on the wheel, and I'm like, Mike, what do I do? No answer. They're pushing the car back, and you got to think about it. Shirley's done this burnout, and she's way out there, and they're pushing. Mike, what do I do? Do I stage? What do I do? No answer. Keep waiting. No answer. They finally get her car pushed back. I roll in, turn the top bulb on. Shirley turns the top bulb on. I stage, and Shirley gives me a little while to think about it. And we go down through there. I went 484, and she went 488. And we had just won our first ever Top Fuel race. Absolutely unbelievable. It was incredible. Third race in, and there we have got an IHRA Ironman in Grand Bend, Ontario, Canada on June 4th of 2000. It was unreal. Whole big celebration. It was just crazy. Very, very, very cool. And Shirley was awesome. You know, she came over and she's like, congratulations, young man. You know, you do a good job driving the car. I learned a lot from Shirley. She told me a lot. We talked a lot. I've been on the bad side of Shirley once or twice, maybe. She's fiery. She is the first lady of drag racing. Ain't no two ways about it. But ended up, you know, winning this dang trophy and getting our picture made. We're hanging out, celebrating. And finally it dawned on me. I'm like, hey, Mike, was the radio not working? You know, I was asking you, should I stage? You know, what's going on? And he said, let me tell you something. I've known Shirley a lot longer than you have. And if you were going to stage that car without her there, I didn't want any part of it. So That was no radio communication problem, but Mike knew it might be some communication between me and Shirley if I had staged that car before she did and took that win without her being beside me. She was amazing. She still is amazing. And so there you have it. That trophy has been sitting at Mom and Daddy's house since we won it, and I'm very proud of it. June 4th of 2000. So let's talk about Wally here, the coveted Wally that took me a long time to win. It was such a long, crazy road to get to Bristol, June 18th of 2017. Almost exactly 17 years. Won Grand Bend June 4th of 2000, won Bristol June 18th of 2017. So a lot of you watching this know that in August of 15, you know, we lost my son Dalton to a motorcycle accident. And June 18th, 2017 was Father's Day. Not a day that I look forward to at all in any form or fashion. It's just not, you know, it's not a good day. It, you know, you get all kinds of text messages and you get, you know, people telling you Happy Father's Day and that sort of thing. Well, for me, not a good day. You know, I didn't want to think about it. I just wanted to go racing. And I've told this story a lot already, and I'm going to tell it again. You know, Bristol does an amazing job with the drivers. You know, during driver intro, they'll send the drivers out, you know, kind of celebrating Father's Day. Well, I snuck out on that. I didn't want any part of it. I didn't want to think about Father's Day. I just wanted to go racing and get that day over with, to be honest with you, because not a good day. You know, anytime I'd get a text, I'd try not to look at it. About the only text I really looked at was from, you know, my son Kale, my daddy, which didn't text. I got a phone call from him. My daddy, you know, my sisters and mama. You know, it was time to go racing and, you know, not think about Father's Day. So first round at Bristol, we raced Kyle Wurtzel and we beat him. Then we raced Brittany Force, huge race, you know, and I beat Brittany, and some of this I'm just kind of foggy about, but I do know it started raining. Took a little while for the rain to get done, and rain delays are always no fun at the track because you're all geared up and you're charged up and you're going. Then you got to stop, and then you got to start over again. You got to get back in the right frame of mind, and that rain delay did nothing but allow me more time to look at my phone. Again, back to text and what have you about Father's Day, which you know, I didn't want anything to do with. So finally, it's time to go, you know, up for the semifinals, and we're towing the car up. And if y'all have ever been to an NHRA race, you know it's always pretty crowded in the lanes, in the midway, towing our car up there. So it was, as we're towing the car up there, some man knocks on the window. We let the window down, and, you know, I assumed he wanted me to sign something or what have you. Well, as it turns out, he handed us something through the window, and it turns out it's this little kid's chest protector here. And at first I thought, well, he wants me to sign that, and so he hands it in, and he's like, no, I don't want you to sign it, but he said, I want to give this to you because it's got Dalton's autograph on it. Dalton Milliken, #25. And even right now, you know, it's get a little lump in my throat because I had a few things, you know, cross my mind right at that moment. It's like, you know, man, that's really cool. He said that Dalton told him that was his first autograph. And, you know, it definitely hit me, you know, then thought kind of crossed my mind, why would this guy hand me this, you know, when I'm fixing to go hop in a 10,000 horsepower car and going up here to race Steve Torrance. And anyway, set it in the floor right there beside my helmet, going up there, and it was, you know, like the sun come out. It just was one of those moments where you're like, holy moly, you know, I'm living out my dream. I am doing exactly what the little guy loved me doing, and he loved doing, you know, he loved stomping on the loud pedal too. So by the time we got up there, Stevie was already, you know, in his car. I went over and spoke to him, and to be honest with you, it was like, this is gonna be okay. You know, it's gonna be okay. And you know, we raced Stevie in the semis there, and car ran good, wind light come on, and holy moly, we're in the final at Bristol. You know, Bristol being, you know, home state track, it's really, really cool. And you know, this little motocross chest protector that was given to me, and the reason Dalton was at a motocross event near this man's place is because they raced at Muddy Creek, which is not very far down the road from the racetrack there in Bristol, and that's where this motor chest protector, you know, where that came about, was Dalton was there racing. So anyway, we got to race Leah Pruett in the final. You know, Leah is an unbelievable competitor, unbelievable driver. You know, she's in a really, really good race car, and, you know, she drives for DSR, you know, one of the biggest, baddest groups in all of drag racing. And, you know, I had, at that point, and please don't hold me to this, but at that point, I think I had 9 runner-ups, 9 final rounds, and had never won one. I mean, that's just unbelievable. My first NHRA race was in 1998. Now, I only did a handful for a couple years there, and I just told you this trophy here was June of 2000, which was really my first full-time season, and 9 final rounds. I mean, just think about that. Also, 254 starts in the NHRA, and I had never won a race. You would think out of, you know, 17 years, 254 starts, 9 final rounds, you would have a day, just one day, where it didn't matter what you did, you turned on the wind light. You know, somebody red lights, somebody smokes the tires, you know, whatever. It's 4 wind lights, 17 years, 254 starts. So when we were getting ready for the final, for me, after, you know, waking up Father's Day, getting the chest protector, man, my day was already complete. It was, you know, something that you can't describe. You know, it was one of those days that was just meant to be. And I wanted to win, you know, but I didn't feel any pressure to win. You know, I felt like with everything that Don and I had been through, then it's Father's Day, and I wasn't having a great day to begin with, but just something come over me, you know, and start the car, do the burnouts. Me and Leah stage up. She absolutely tattooed me on the starting line. She crushed me. And she put a cylinder out. We went right on down through there. Bam. Wind light come on in my lane.
Wear a yellow hat by day's end. Is today the day? Clay Milligan is an NHRA national event winner. A goosebump moment that was 254 national events.
And it was incredible, you know, went just absolutely crazy inside the car. Stopped the car on the racetrack, and right in front of us, Jack Beckman and Ron Capps had just run, and I think they were like 4 thousandths apart at the finish line, and Capps had got the win. And here comes Beckman. You know, it's just weird. It was like he appeared. I'm sitting on the racetrack just screaming, and I hopped out of the car and looking back at the starting line, you know, excited, just screaming and yelling. And Jack's telling me, get your helmet off, get your gloves off. This is huge. You have no idea, you know. And I literally couldn't get the car off the racetrack. You know, it was just like I had lost. I had just went down the racetrack at however fast, you know, and I just couldn't seem to get the race car off the track. And they had to kind of help me get the car around the corner there. And for years, I had all these things that, you know, I had thought about, man, I'm going to say this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to thank this person, I'm going to do all this stuff. But it absolutely all went out the window. You know, it totally come unglued. Started off my interview pretty good. You know, it was all those things that, you know, I was going to try to like remember to say all those things that I wanted to say. And you know, the Father's Day thing started coming on me, and then I pulled out this, the number 25 that Dalton wore around his neck.
Clay, you said before the finals that this one was going to be super special. Do you have words to describe how you're feeling right now?
I don't. Donna been with me from freshman year. And Mama, Daddy, Tracy, Lee, Gail, Dalton, I miss you, but I knew you were riding with me today, buddy. Doug Stringer, Whitney, finally won one. Man, it was just so hard. It took long enough. Thank you. UNOH Parts Plus, great clips. I'm screwing up like the whole sponsor thing, but don't block them. Don't block right there. Do not block that little man rides with me everywhere I go.
No, it's good.
Stop on that loud pedal, buddy. Curly is crying his little.
Don't want to miss Tennessee's very own Clay Milliken in his first NHRA winner circle. He's had success here on the other side, but I don't believe he's ever been as happy as he has been.
Clay with a moment now with his wife down there at the top end of the racetrack. For all they've been through in the last few years. Winning at home. You can't get much better than that.
I lost it, you know, absolutely lost it, and celebrated, you know, with the guys, and then, you know, Donna coming, and no matter how many more races I win, you know, nothing will ever top that. That was an amazing day, you know. The number thing, you know, the 25, you know, y'all, if y'all follow me along on social media and all that stuff, sorry about that. I did not mean to kind of got back in that moment of the day that happened, but the number thing's been kind of cool, you know. My first NHRA license number was 2556. When I got my Top Fuel license, I took one number off and I was 255. And when Dalton started motocross racing, he took one more number off and he was 25. And so, you know, the number 25 just kind of pops up. You know, numbers kind of are cool, and, you know, but that final round run, when me and Leah raced there, I went 3.825. That stayed up on the scoreboard for a long time, and won't never forget Jack Beckman and Ron Capps, Leah. You know, they were all unbelievable. You know, Capps was really, really cool. You know, we hugged and cried, and I just told him this in a different interview I had just done with Bobby Bennett in Competition Plus, that I won't never forget Caps. You know, you get in this little mellow yellow truck and they take you back to the starting line. And Alex Laughlin had won pro stock, and we're in there, and I got the Wally, and I'm all excited, and Caps says, "Hey Alex, nobody on the planet's ever going to know we won this race today, you know, because 254 starts, 17 years, 9 final rounds, finally won one. Dadgummit, took a long time, but finally won one." So, man, this was probably way longer than I meant for it to be, but there's my story of my 2 first. IHRA Ironman, NHRA Wally, Grand Bend, Ontario, Canada, and Bristol, Tennessee. Guys, thanks so much tuning in and watching. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope we can get through this, get back to racing, and I'll do some more videos. Hope y'all are enjoying them. Thank you guys for watching.